probably a vegetarian.
Yeah, right.
And
Hey, but
there is a reality to people eating meat,
Yeah.
and there's a reality to the way that those animals are raised and cared for. And the only reason I eat meat is because I know the animals and how they were raised, and I know that they lived a really, really good life and had one bad day instead of living a terrible life and having their best day be the day that they get processed, which is the way that most meat in this country is produced.
Right.
And so
it's like when I grew up in Montana and we ate the elk and the deer and
exactly.
And if we didn't eat them, the winter would.
Yeah.
And so it was an important part of living off the land.
Exactly. And that's part of it for me too, is the sustainability of Colorado consumption. You really need to eat seasonally, and there's huge season shifts here, and the winter is one of the hardest times to eat sustainably because of how much you have to work to process the very short growing season that you do have of fresh food in order to maintain that through the winter and then really through the spring too. The spring becomes a really tough time. You end up eating a lot of greens. But meat provides a year-round supplement to that, and really in the winter, meat and potatoes gets you through the winter sustainably.
And I know that some raw foodists like Dr. Kazar and other people are eating eggs, sometimes fertilized eggs or unfertilized.
And the eggs that we produce are amazing. They're really.
These are Rhode Island Reds, or?
These are. Yeah.
We had.
They're laying chickens, and this is the chicken tractor. So this is no floor, and it's just we call it a chicken tractor because it's a movable pen that we move around the yard, and what they do is they're just waiting for this. What they really like to do is they like to graze, and they like to scratch and peck at all of the manures, and they really kind of go into those patties and look for the bugs and the larvae that are working on breaking that down, and they devour it, and they scratch and peck it, and then they send it all over, and it becomes fertilizer. So over time, the nature of the chicken enhances the fertility of the soil, and really benefits the pasture.
And so these are in a sense free range, without the dog taking care of them.
Exactly. And then normally chicken tractors are you use chicken tractors with birds that you're producing for, and they haven't started laying yet. Once they start to lay, we'll actually put straw in all of their beds here, and they will and then we'll be able to access the eggs very easily, but they'll still have a protected place to lay their eggs. And so this is our egg-laying chicken tractor.
Wow.
And as you see right here, the chicken tractor was just right there yesterday, and right there yesterday, and moved all the way down that row throughout the week.
And so what does this do for the soil?
So it's they scratch and peck the soil. They eat the grasses. So every time you eat a grass, any animal that eats a grass, the grass always wants to maintain a root to shoot ratio. And so if you snip the top of the plant off, it sheds roots to compensate. And in that shedding of roots, you actually get organic material building in your soils. That's how the grasslands produced the super fertile soils of the Midwest, was just the grazing that happened from the buffalo over time, coming in, grazing it all down. That grazing then shedding a bunch of roots that add up and build over time that create like 30 feet of topsoil, and so similarly here, once they graze down, then that adds organic material. They also put down their manure, which is really high in nitrogen, and that really enhances it. And then they essentially act as harrows to the cow patties that the cow puts down. So instead of it being concentrated and centralized, it's spread out and able to fertilize a larger area per patty. And that over time will actually bring life back. This was completely dead last year. Like, there was nothing really growing here last year.
Wow.
And so, as you see, it makes a bit of a difference.
Yes.